But what were you saying about Inspired?
I don't want to divulge too much.
All right. Hold on. Let me.
What I'm trying to say is, I think you have great ideas. I just think a lot of players underestimate the skill required to pilot the champions you suggest in the way that you recommend them being played.
Oh, maybe that champion. Okay. Wait.
I mean, just not in general. Like, for example, like the Senna thing, right? When you watch 100 Thieves versus Dick, like, bro, these people have no business locking in Senna. No.
Oh, yeah. They cannot play Senna.
That's just the reality. Yeah.
Dude, I don't know what it is with NA supports and being unable to play anything other than, like, for the most part, right? Busio can. Who else? Busio.
Core, I'd say.
Core. Isla sometimes, but not really Senna, it appears. And then there's no one else. NA supports are like Vulcan, I mean, we talked about this last week. Vulcan off like Alistar, Leona, Nautilus literally goes like 3 grades down as a player. If he's like off those types of champions, you know what I mean?
I agree, yeah.
Hui, same way. Who else is there? Fuck. Why am I like blanking?
To be fair, this is in Europe too. To be fair, this is a pretty global thing.
Oh, that's what you meant. Yeah, okay. I thought you meant something about Inspired. I'm like, yeah, no. People will see the fucking. I was trying to think of like a meme with like LS, but
yeah. No, what I'm trying to say is like a lot of the
champions tomorrow
are very good in the meta, and mechanically they aren't intense. And by nature of the builds you suggest, it's like very easy to pull off. But that doesn't mean that you can just play them. You still need to know in every situation how to play the game. Like, you need to have good decision making, and you need to be playing well, you know? And I think that requires practice. Like, I'll give you an example. So I don't know if you've seen this, like in NA, there's a guy that builds Locket Gragas. So he goes Cosmic Drive into Locket, into Crypt Bloom, so that you can get 10 stacks of Jack of all trades on Gragas.
Okay.
In that way, you can like min-max your ability haste, but still have quite a bit of damage because you're going, Magic Pen Boots and Crypt Bloom while you have resistances. Like, basically, just min-maxing Jack of all trades on a champion that uses all the stats well.
Okay.
And he starts Mana Crystal refillable, and I told him I can't do that because in a lot of matchups, I'm so used to knowing the wave control and the wave management in every situation with Doran's Ring into tier. Because a lot of matchups top as Gragas, you have to recall on wave 4 and TP back because you're just out of mana. You're
out of mana, right.
And if you go Mana Crystal refillable, this is still true on waves 5 and 6 usually because you have a bit more mana than if you were to go Doran's Ring. But the thing is I don't have that practiced, so I wouldn't know in every situation when I'm preemptively going to have to recall TP back, etc. And this is kind of the decision-making aspect that I'm talking about, where if you pick up a new champion and you're starting at everything, like to optimize consistency, one needs to practice these situations and environments. And what happens when you cheese gank level 2? What happens when you misplay? What happens when they misplay? Like, how do you leverage that, etc. These are things that one needs to practice. And in order to maximize the value of the champion, like, you need to be able to pull this off. And especially like when I'm thinking of champions you suggest to people, like you suggest Gangplank a lot, for example. Like, if you don't know how to avoid a large deficit as Gangplank, you will be a detriment to your team. This champion needs to be able to, you need to be able to conduct yourself in a matchup where, against Renekton, for example, you can't just go down 50, 60 CS. Like, it's not allowed. And you can absolutely pilot him in a way where you can go down 20 and you're going to be better than Renekton every game. I agree with this fundamentally. You have to know how to do that, and it's not easy. And I feel like a lot of people that take your advice, they're like, oh, bet I can play Gangplank, and then they play Gangplank, and then they go down 40, and they're like, oh, Alessa's build sucks because it just sucks. It doesn't suck because, well, obviously you go down 40, there's nothing you can do. But really, they just don't have the skill in order to pull it off. And they like, there's the same with like Nasa's bot lane stuff. I fundamentally agree. Like, let me put it this way: I was playing Galio bot lane.
Dude,
playing bot lane competitively.
Nasa's support is better than mid, and no one's doing it, and I'm losing my mind.
Dude, I would abuse the shit out of Senna Nasus with my partner in bot lane, and I'm just saying.
But why are you trying to make me off myself? What are you doing?
No, I'm just trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you were right, but I just want to highlight the fact that people don't put value into practicing those situations, because obviously it's really strong, but you need to know how to minimize losses to a way where you can actually arrive mid-game where your champion is really broken, only being down like 20 or so. Like, that's acceptable, and you're going to outvalue your opponent at every turn after that point. But a lot of people play it, they run it down in lane, or they don't know when to like agree on the match recalls, for example, and they go down 40, die once in lane, and they're like, oh, it's bad. And it's just like, dude, you didn't even try to make it work. You just pretend that Nasus is an easy champion because you have no skill shots and you're a relatively easy champion. But that doesn't mean the champion is actually easy to pull off, because the decision making required to reach the point where your champion is scaling well and strong is high level. You need to be quite smart, and you need to know the lane ahead of time and know when, like, there's a lot of lanes where dropping 3 CS on a neutral wave is the best possible outcome you can get, right? So when there's a big slow push coming to your lane, right? And you catch the slow push, you've caught the whole wave. Trying to push it out is often the worst thing you can do. You just have to catch the slow push, recall, spend the money that you've got, and then with that money, you're strong enough to crash the wave on equal terms, right? 1v1. And a lot of people just don't know that. So what they do is they try to push it out, and then what ends up happening is the guy shows up and freezes, because obviously it takes a while to catch the whole slow push, and then they're more fucked than if they just had recalled and on the neutral wave dropped 3 melee CS, because you're going to lose it because you had to recall, right? It's like a very simple example of a very common wave management problem that people don't practice. And because they don't employ the strategy of dropping the 3 melees on the neutral wave, they pretend like you can't scale. Because, he freezes on me here, so I can't play the game. Yeah, well, obviously. But if you had recalled and spent your money, you would have easily been able to crash it on him using better wave manipulation. And yeah, then you come to the conclusion that Senna Nasus is unplayable because you play against Kalista or Nata, and then they bounce the wave, and obviously they come back and freeze it, and you didn't spend your gold, so now you're going to lose an entire wave, and you're going to keep bleeding gold because you never got to fix the wave when you should have been able to had you spent your money. Just to give an example, and that's why I think it's like really important to acknowledge, like, people need to acknowledge that what you're suggesting is good, and you can't say that it's bad because people don't have the decision making required to pull it off, because it's hard.
I just dislike when people tell me that I'm wrong, but they won't tell me why, or they'll give me something that I can't engage with, right? Like,
exactly.
For instance, saying that it opens the map doesn't mean anything to me, and it shouldn't mean anything to you either. Like,
I mean, I agree, yeah.
Like, it's like a joke comment, right? And then as someone that for like 10 years has like consistently demonstrated willingness to demonstrate or like thoroughly explain, I don't want to do it every time. I shouldn't have to. It is the reality. I shouldn't have to, because there's very few people in the scene that are willing to go as meticulous as like me or others when it comes to like certain things. Like, do you remember the Chase Shako thing? The 3-item gangplank, and I sat in practice tool for 40 minutes just to like completely simulate it. You know, like, now that's like a minor scale example. But there aren't people willing to do that. And that's even simple. To like really know or like fundamentally understand why. But the other thing is like Raynor, getting flamed for having Raynor there when Raynor was 1 win off of Grandmaster on EU West, and he is top 6 in the world at StarCraft 2, which is a game of economy and resource management. It is warfare, right? All these other things, like, it was just a really frustrating. And then I started getting DM today. I haven't watched it yet, but apparently Cagel did a reaction. I don't know what the reaction is, but I got tagged in it a lot today, and I don't know. But I'm so tired of these conversations because we're almost not even fundamentally talking about the same things. And I don't know what that video is. I did see the reaction from one of the Spanish community members, and it's like they don't even get what I'm saying. I don't know. And then almost at the same time, it's like I don't blame them because League is all that they know. So when it comes time to engage with concepts of estimated value and probability and practicality and like these types of things, and then levying those things to determine what is the 52% best option or 60%, right? It's weird that they struggle with grasping that. That like, so a lot of the stuff that I talk about, is like this, right? Yeah, it's like this. It's like this. This is what it should be like. So I'm showing it on screen. This is a poker hand graph, right? So they're seeing this. Like, it takes a while. This is like thousands of hands or whatever, right? So what is this? This is 12,000 hands, right? If you were to stop the data at 1,400 hands, then you wouldn't see this, right? But this is happening because of EV. You're consistently making the micro decision more often, right? And it's leading to a more consistent and higher outcome. And that's ultimately what it is. I don't know, man. It's very frustrating. And also the time that I spent away and like being peaceful and calm and then getting immediately sent right back into the fucking the war zone. Oh, can you check the edited message? Is there a chance of that as well or what? I edited the message above.
Both are likely.
Oh, we're getting some. There is going to be some LS antics tomorrow. It's going to be about to re-show the influence. I mean, it's good. I'm really glad that me and Inspired have the relationship that we do. Because one, he is the best Western jungler. But then two, he is so open-minded in the way that he views... Well, he's open-minded if you can actually discuss the game. That's my experience with him. And like from what I've heard, obviously you know him on a personal level. More than me because of the amount of time that you spend together. But I'm so glad that like him and I can have like hour-long conversations about champions and items and runes and pathings and like all this other thing. And I know I can like actually trust that one, he'll genuinely try it like with an open mind. And if it is good, he will debut it. And like, so like in a way, it's like, like I'm like relying on Inspired, like the last like couple of, like Ivern, the Bommies thing, like a bunch of shit, you know? Oh, fuck.
It's exciting.
My lord. It is exciting. It is. It really is. Yeah. It's good. It is good. I mean, I had it with several players, right, in the past, like Danny at one point when Danny was like top in the LCS. And that's the other crazy thing, man. God. Never mind. I want to get more tilted. I don't want to get more tilted. I saw the tweet yesterday. And then you were talking about it with Carzy, right? Earlier, like the partying and just lack of seriousness. There's just a consistent trend that like the people that I tend to socialize with, whether it be in public or private, if they come on the co-stream, etc., a lot of them are all top in their role. You know, like yourself respectively,
sure.
You know, Inspired, Trimby, right, is like really on the stream. Yeah. I used to talk to Caps. I mean, you know that. I used to talk to Caps all the time back in the day. Mickey, like these are all top players in their role. And then I'll have bottom tier pros tell me that I'm like talking nonsense or that I'm just saying things to say things. And it's like, what are we missing here, guys? What are we, I don't know. And that sort of sounds like an appeal to authority in itself, but it's so frustrating, man. It's so sick.
I
don't know what kind of cognitive dissonance that triangle is. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's really weird as well. I'm not sure.
Strange.
I don't know.
Let me pee. I'm sorry. Let me pee. I'm tilted. Well. Let me go to the bathroom
go ahead.
really quick. Well, I'm sorry. You can talk to chat 1 second.
Hello, chat. How are you doing?